Hey, Danielle, I'm just grateful that you're here. I'm going to jump right into it and just ask you, how has the present economic situation impacted your business?
Well, the present economic situation has been present with us for quite some time, but really, things really kind of took a dive in the last couple of months with the onset of COVID and so many people, having to literally stop operations and things being closed and whatnot. So that was sudden and unexpected. And I don't know that anybody could say that they weren't impacted by it in one way or another. So for me, as a business coach and trainer and strategist, several of my clients had to suddenly close their doors, and they lost 90 to 100% of their revenues. They needed more support than ever, but they couldn't pay. And so I, with several of my clients, had to continue the support with coaching and whatnot, we just went forward that way. And we're just not worrying about money right now. We're worrying about you and helping you get through this. So of course, then that impacts my bottom line. I also do a lot of training workshops. Obviously, those couldn't be done, but I was able to do workshops, but I did it as a give back. So I did a lot of online virtual training workshops just for free. And I could just see people were suddenly like, oh my gosh, I have to do business in a completely different way. And now I've got to have this virtual presence that I've never sort of dabbled in before, and I don't know how to do it. And I would go into these Zoom networking meetings where people literally, maybe they were bad at elevator pitches in an in-person meeting, but online, it's like agonizing, right? So it was like, okay, we need to offer some help in these ways to help people navigate into the new way of doing things, which I honestly don't think is going to go away. I think that a lot of our work will continue to be virtual. So I was able to, offer stuff, but definitely, my personal, my business revenue took a bite and a hit. But I did notice that when I sat quietly and pulled my mindset out of fear and panic and worry, and just sat with, okay, what else is possible? What is possible? And to just surrender and trust that I'm strong. And I'm creative, and those ideas are going to flow, and I'm going to see where the opportunities are, and I'll be able to flow into those. Then opportunities started to come, and new things to build started to come. So it's still a tough season. It's probably tougher now than it was in the earlier going, because you can sort of ride it out for a while, and then after a while, there's nothing left to ride.
When the safety net's gone, it's a little more difficult.
So it does come to that. But I'm really excited about the projects that I've gotten involved in now, and I think over the coming months, whatever happens with COVID and however that looks, I do see good opportunity for myself and my business. And I'm seeing a lot of business resiliency out there. A lot of other people doing those same things, becoming more innovative and creative. So that's all good stuff.
For sure. And I think that's part of what's great about being an Albertan, is that there is that resilience. There is that entrepreneur spirit here in Alberta, where you get knocked down once, you stand up and you figure out how you're going to move forward. And that kind of gives me a good segue into my next question here, is how has your business changed over the last while? I mean, I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but obviously there are a few things that you've had to do differently, and you had to be creative. So it definitely has changed in all the ways that I mentioned. But,
one of the things that really hit home to me was a message, not just for me, but for all of us as Albertans. We've always known that we're very enterprising, we're very entrepreneurial, and we're very resilient. We know that about ourselves. Yeah. And yet we have had this mentality that this external driver, specific industries like oil and gas, were part of our strength and were what made us strong. Well, those are things that are outside of us.
Yes.
And they can come and they can go. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the key things that we are coming to recognize is that we can't take credit for those external things, and we can't take blame for those external things. We have to, it's not oil and gas strong. It's not ag strong. It's not this or that strong. It's we are strong. Yeah. We're strong. And no matter what happens, we will, knock us down 7 times. We'll get up 8. Yeah. We are those people, and we have to be those people. So we're learning that those drivers, that innovation and creativity and enterprising spirit comes from inside of us, and it's not attached to any external force, and that we can rise strong and do well and be successful however we define that success, regardless of those external things that are going on, whether they're great things or bad things. We're going to be okay, and we're going to make it.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, this would be a great time to, if anybody has gotten to this part in the video, to start putting some thumbs up or some hearts, because that is so what my heart is as well, is that it's not just about one industry. And I love the idea of getting away from that mentality of we can only be strong if oil and gas is strong. Right. I've been reading so much stuff about the tech sector and all of the other aspects. And I think, oh man, bring it here, because if we can get into that, then there'll be nothing that can stop us.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we can either ride the coattails of something that's going well, and then when it stops going well, we're hooped, or we can be leaders.
For sure.
And blaze those new trails. So that's what I want to see us do, is to see ourselves as strong and be leaders and blaze those new trails.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So moving on to my next question then is, and again, you're kind of touching on these things as we go along, but what lessons have you learned that you will take forward with you when we get back to whatever it is that's coming? I mean, I don't think we even really know.
Yeah, I don't think we're going back to anything. I think we're going forward to new things. And I'm actually really excited about what I'm seeing emerge. There's kind of 3 key markers that I see emerging where there's real opportunities. And I think if business will position itself to take advantage of these 3 opportunities, that business can do well and people can do well. So the first one is local. Suddenly everybody cares about local, wants to support local, realize that, holy smokes, local business is the bread and butter of our economy. Yeah. So if you position yourself as local, there's an opportunity there. People will want to support you. The second is virtual, and we know that suddenly everybody realizes I need a virtual presence. I need an online store. I need to know how to use Zoom or YouTube or do lives on Facebook. I need digital marketing. Suddenly everybody recognizes that. So get virtual, position your business virtually. And the third thing is essential. In any disaster, the Red Cross will tell you, the first thing they do, they go into a community, the first thing they do is identify the essential services and say, okay, we need you, and we're going to funnel all of this stuff to you because you are an essential service right now. Yeah. So how can you position your business as essential? And that will give you that runway that people will go, oh yeah, I do need that, right? So there's local, virtual, and essential are the key markers of what we need to see going forward. So that's where I kind of see a lot of runway for people to take advantage of the new way to go forward.
For sure. For sure. No, those are good. I'm envisioning what I'm going to be putting at the top of my little, my spiel on the top of this here, because that's just so good. Those are so powerful. Now, and again, just working off of that, what advice would you give new business owners starting out today, or even changing that a little bit, and business owners that are having to pivot from what their traditional business was to what their new business is going to have to be?
So if you're a new business, you're going to do this. And if you are a business that is either transitioning or you've started a business before, you're going to know that you did this. And that's where you went straight from idea to tactics.
Yeah.
This is what everybody does, right? We get an idea and we just run in and start doing the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we're running back and forth over the same stretch of road repeatedly because we did it wrong. We wasted a bunch of money. It turned out to not be right. We threw spaghetti at the wall and nobody bought.
Right.
And we're doing the spray and pray approach in our marketing and all of those sorts of things. So while we have this time where everything's really careful, this is the time to actually set proper business foundations. There's this little thing between idea and tactics called strategy. Planning.
What a concept.
I know. And if you will take the time to do effective market research, develop solid business processes, identify your target audience, know what they want to hear from you, what problem you're solving for them, how to reach them, what messaging resonates with them, will they buy, how much will they pay, how do I reach them, and how do I ensure that I'm meeting their needs. If you will take the time to do that strategy piece now, while you've got the time, this is the time to be doing market research, for heaven's sake. If you can do that now, then you are actually going to exponentially propel your business forward when you get, to market. You will grow and scale so much more quickly. You just need to make the investment in strategy. It's pay me now or pay me later. And you can either do it 5 times over and waste a lot of time and money and feel frustrated, or you can do that strategy now and put yourself head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah. Well, I saw something on LinkedIn the other day, and it was a serial entrepreneur, and he says the businesses that have succeeded the best for him are always been businesses that he started in downturns. And I think it's because of that very thing where he had to be more strategic. It wasn't like people were throwing money at him left, right, and center, and he didn't know what to do with it all, so he just went out and spent it. He had to be very careful, and he had to make sure that everything counted. So I think that's huge.
100%. And having said that, there are the flip side of that is other entrepreneurs who get so busy, so bogged down in the analysis that they can't actually pull the trigger. So there's something called good enough to go, where you've done the strategy, you've done the analysis, you've done your research, and then you enter the market with your minimum viable product. You know that it's iteration number 1 of your business, that your business is going to iterate. It's the version that you enter the market with isn't going to be the version that you have 3 years, 5 years from now. I've heard it said that if you can look back after 5 years in business and you're not embarrassed by the first iteration, then you didn't do it right. We got to recognize that there's that combination and balance between having good strategy and having done your homework and figuring out all your stuff, but pulling the trigger when you're good enough to go and recognizing that you're going to iterate while you are building up your market share.
No, that's good. That is good. And so now finally, what are your plans for the future? Moving forward, what are things that are getting you excited right now and that you're going, I can't wait to get into this, get right into this?
Yeah. Well, some of the cool things that have happened for me during this time is I had and so in my practice, Danielle Kluister Consulting, I've been doing coaching and strategy and training for a number of years, as well as helping not-for-profits with their strategic planning and all those sorts of things. But last year, another coach that I know approached me and asked me to help her plan an event for women. And we did this Sharp event in February of this year. And I was really taken aback and surprised by the hunger of the women for community, for growth, for learning. And so the things have evolved into a brand called Sharp Women. And we have a number of business offerings on the horizon or in play now. We're releasing on June 22nd Sharp Women magazine. It's a free subscription for women to live their lives on point. We're going to be starting a podcast. We're going to actually do an intensive masterclass. And of course, we're going to run our second Sharp Women event next February. So suddenly there's all of this, where before I was so busy with just doing the doing. And kind of really, when you are a coach, you're in that one-to-one environment a lot. So you're in fulfillment a lot. And so suddenly I've been pulled up into this strategic place of building a new company, where yes, there's still some fulfillment, but it's actually to scale it to build a company. And I mean, what we're going to see from Sharp Women in the next year, 3 years, 5 years, I am super, super excited about that. So I'm all jacked up on that right now, and for the foreseeable future. Still running my coaching practice, certainly, and happy to help people who are either starting or growing or needing help right now. Happy to do that, but very, very excited as well about Sharp Women.
Cool. And so, I mean, you've talked about your coaching business. How does somebody contact you if they're looking for those services? Just tell us a little bit about what it is that you do, how you serve your clients, and how they would reach out to you.
Right. So essentially, I'm looking at the whole person, because people run businesses. And so it's about skill set, systems development, and mindset. So we take a full wheel approach to the coaching process. I do work with a lot of startups, so people who have not yet entered the market, and also people in the early stages of business. But I also have clients who are way further down the business trail, who recognize that if you didn't, maybe have some of those systems or processes in place, that you can still go back and put some of those things in to help improve your bottom line, to free up your time and to move yourself forward much more quickly. So DannyKloo.com, DANIKLOO.com is my website. People can email me at Danielle@DannyKloo.com. Reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, carrier pigeons, smoke signals, whatever works.
And of course, we'll have your email address up in the notes at the top there, in the little comment as well. And I will definitely put the 3 points, the features of businesses going forward. I'll put that up in the comments as well, because I think that's super powerful. I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show here with me today. I've had a lot of fun. I really appreciate the insight that you've given, and I just know that the audience are going to get a lot out of this. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks for all you're doing, and I look forward to seeing more from you.
I'm going to create, because I believe Alberta is going to get strong again, and Alberta Strong is my hashtag. So if you're out there, let's follow Alberta Strong, and let's just really make this trend. Okay.
Sounds great. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.